in the building.
Good evening, everyone. One man once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I am your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar team, Vicious Sane. Gonna go over Raw this week. Was in St. Louis, Missouri, home of the one and only Randy Orton. And before we get into that, a couple things do want to talk about. First and foremost, big thing that's been highlighted over the course of over the course of the past, say, day or so. One ACH in WWE known as Jordan Miles wound up putting it out there on his Twitter that WWE, they made a shirt that very inappropriate and not in an inappropriate in a way like I am, you know, but more so in a racial way, and he called them out on their bullshit. WWE made a response saying we ran it by him, he approved it. He then made a counter argument and has been going off on social media in a very proactive way about how he's not very keen on racial in regards to racial matters. And honestly, I can't say I blame him. I mean, look, the guy even wound up saying, you know, he was hesitant on wanting to say yes or no, and his bosses took what he said as yes. So, and I'm not defending WWE in any way, shape, or form, but just remember, folks, there's always two sides to the argument. Now, while we're all going to obviously have our own views and matters on shit, you know, it's, you know, there are just some things that, you know, you should just stop, take a look back, and before you even think about putting it out there to sell, you need to sit there and think, is there any way that this could come back and bite us in the ass? And I will give you a good example on that. One way. Now, they never made merch for it, but a line that they wound up having get put on TV that came back and bit them in the ass was when Sasha, Becky, and all them debuted all at once, and Charlotte and all, they put Paige, Charlotte, and Becky all in a little trio and called them the sorority sisters. You go and you look it up, there is a fucking porn site on name that shit. You know? So, yeah. Fact check, proofread, stop, take a look. Have people who don't, you know, have people who aren't designers take a look. Have people who, you know, have people in WWE who, you know, may not necessarily think of wanting to buy a wrestling shirt, take a look at that and be like, you see anything wrong with this? Or even yet, some people have a very wide spectrum, should say, you know, whether it's wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans, take a look at it. Because sometimes the best view you can get is from outside critics. People who know nothing about what you're doing or what you're pushing out there. So, with that said, now that we're done that, let's switch gears and we're going to go hop back into the Wayback Machine up into last week for the SmackDown Rewind. Big things that they wound up highlighting over this past week with SmackDown Rewind. Nikki Cross and Mandy Rose had a match which damn near gave me a heart attack. Whew. Thank God for my buddy Zeke and them heart pills, man, I swear. If it wasn't for my homeboy Zeke, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead right now. You know, they had Sasha and Bayley out in ringside doing commentary. Bayley really solidifying herself as a really good heel right now with that "I'd like to speak to your manager" haircut and that "my name is Karen" attitude. So it just really cool seeing that, because like I said before, on how I'm definitely seeing this transformation with Bayley, it's like she went from being this bubbly little girl that was like your little sister that wanted to be a wrestler, and you're like, yeah, go ahead, do it over there. And now she's got a chip on her shoulder like, motherfucker, you put me over in the corner one too many times, now I'm going to show you what happens. Absolutely love that. You know, our little girl has finally grown up. Also, they wound up announcing, damn it, fuck, that's a botch. Okay. Also, they wound up stating crystal clear, Xavier Woods, he tore his Achilles tendon at the Australian tour last week, so he's going to be out of commission for roughly maybe a year. Hopefully he can come back sometime soon, at least in the sense of being a mouthpiece, even if he can't get physical. You know, the guy is a hell of a talent, you know. And I really am, we all here hope for the best. Anytime somebody gets injured, hope they make a speedy recovery, unless they're that fuck knuckle Ryroid, you know, in which case he can go fuck himself. If you're wondering why I got such a deep hatred on him, look way back in the archives, or hit me up on the Twitter at Tim Vicious and I'll tell that story. I ain't in the mood to tell that here. Other than that, really, they helped solidify the Lesnar-Cain Velasquez match by having Brock beat the shit out of Ray's son Dominic, which just then had Kane go full on batshit crazy with "you want to fuck with family, now it's going to get personal" type attitude. So yeah, other than that, really, those were really the big highlights from SmackDown. So with that said, let's get into the show. Raw starts out, Paige comes out, introduces Kairi and my future third ex-wife Asuka. They come out, Kairi, Kairi, man, damn. Little pirate princess came out looking all sorts of mean and nasty tonight. Not only that, you go back and you listen. When she was cutting a promo, she did this little evil laugh, and I'm not gonna lie, that was hands down the most beautiful evil laugh I've ever heard. Sorry, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Okay. Anyways, after that, then they smack the mic out of Paige's hand. She goes to pick it up. Next thing you know, Asuka gives her the mist and then gets blinded, thus leading to the eventual match between Kairi and Becky. Now, this really good match, I dug it. It was a good, solid opener. You know, really stellar opener in my book. You know, really dug Kairi's attitude. You know, it was just nice to see it because, like I said, she went from, you know, very much so like Bayley, being that nice, bubbly girl of ahoy matey, to, you know, now being now being like a cutthroat pirate with, instead of being like the nice pirate who would let you live, but not, you know, this one will just go, put a bullet, you know, put a shot in your belly and leave you for dead. Really dug the match, really good pace, you know, it was very good, very nice. I dug it. Match came to an end when Becky, she eventually got the disarmor in on Kairi. If I had to make a complaint on it, and I try not to focus on the negatives, and I try not to focus on the complaints. I really don't. I try and, you know, I try and look for as much good as I can in shit, no matter what. But honestly, tapping out the second the submission is locked in. I am not a fan of that, you know. At least hold for like a good 2, maybe 3 seconds. Like, give a sense of realism, like, you know. Unless you're doing it for a sense like, you know, you're like if you're a champion and you're in a non-title match and they lock it in, that way, and then afterwards you do a post-match interview like, well, why'd you do that? Just have the champ say, well, I'm the champion. I don't have to, my title wasn't on the line. I had no need to hold on and try and put up a fight. I need to keep myself in good shape for when I do defend my title. Something along those lines. Anyways, next up we got R-Truth versus Buddy Murphy, and I'm not gonna lie, R-Truth really does look naked now without that 25-8 European Television Championship of his. So yeah, anyways, Truth wound up cutting a promo before the match started and said he was gonna come after the Singh brothers and become a 50-time champion. Lord knows that can definitely happen, and now that you think about it, Truth, he's already a 20-time, so he's already beaten Ric Flair and John Cena's record. So, boom. Truth versus Buddy Murphy. This, nice start by Murphy. Buddy, he was kind of leading the pace. He kind of leading the match as it went, and I really dug that. Really like Buddy Murphy's style. He's got a very aggressive style where it's not a lot of high flying, but he'll do some, but he's very power and very striking, and that's the kind of wrestling style that I'm personally keen to. I like seeing the power game. I like seeing the striking game. Like flips and dives, but don't want to see somebody doing 300 dives over the top rope over the course of a 2 or 3 hour show. Now, that said, match relatively shorter than what I would have liked, but I'm not going to split hairs on that. And the ending was kind of shitty. It came to an end when the Singh brothers wound up running laps around the ring with a bunch of lower card guys chasing after them, trying to get the title. Truth wound up going in circles with them too until he eventually got back in the ring. And then Murphy just, boom, hit him with a high knee right to the face. Got the 1, 2, 3. That was it. Now, next matchup we got Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre. Last match for Raw, I should say, to help hype up the Team Flair versus Team Hogan match at Crown Jewel. And one thing I do want to address about with this match real quick. A lot of people were shitting yes and no on this because 1, Flair, 2, it's in Saudi, and 3, that it's been done before. It was done in TNA and all that jazz. And okay, we'll take out the Hogan issue because everyone has their opinion on Hogan. We'll take out the Saudi issue because everyone has their view on Saudi. Let's focus on the third, the most nonsensical, what would seem like the most nonsensical one, but people tend to want to gravitate to more than anything because it's the thing we all see at the moment. Team Flair versus Team Hogan. People want to go and complain saying, oh, well, this promotion did it first. No, this one. TNA did it first, this, that, and the other. Who the fuck cares? I mean, seriously. You can only do so much. You can only do so many different types of stories. You can only have so many different types of characters in wrestling. So what if it's all... So what? I mean, for crying out loud. It's wrestling. It's entertainment. It's fucking entertainment. It's meant to make you sit there, watch, laugh, cry, get mad, and weep for joy all within the same show. Don't worry if somebody else did it first and they're just copying. For fuck's sake. How many times did WCW and WWE copy off of each other back and forth non-stop during the Monday Night Air? Now Now with that said, now we'll get into Ricochet versus McIntyre. Very much so a repeat of last week. McIntyre just non-stop with the power game. You know, taking it to Ricochet. Ricochet, every time he'd start to build a little bit of a comeback, McIntyre just, bam, taking him down. And best part on this was, hands down, McIntyre's mocking Hulk Hogan. Doing the leg drop, and then Hogan like, oh, no, you did not. And then McIntyre doing the Hogan poses, doing the old classic Hogan poses, and then getting in his face, which just, oh man, that was, you could feel electricity right there. Now, honest to God, if Hogan was about 20 years younger and McIntyre was just like he is now, I guarantee that could have made money. But either way, decent match, you know, really liked on how it went. Match came to an end when Ricochet, he was starting to build up his comeback, getting ready to go for the 630. You know, McIntyre rolled out the way, Ricochet landed, spun around just as he did. Randy, right out of nowhere, boom, hit him with an RKO. And then McIntyre and Randy proceeded to go and put a 2-on-1 beatdown on him, and then tossed him out the ring and left it at that. So, yeah. So, basically what that's kind of gives me the impression on is most likely Hogan's team's going to get the win at Crown Jewel, my guess, but it can, honestly, I could see most likely being Hogan. More so just because that area of the world also is a big fan of the old school Hulk Hogan era wrestling. Not so much like the Ric Flair and the Jim Crockett and all that stuff, but more so the old school 80s Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon era. Next up we got the Viking Raiders going against local jobbers. I'm pretty sure you guys know on how well this one went. And also we wound up next up we got, well actually before we get into that, let me give a quick breakdown now that it's fresh in my head. Some folks wanted to go and shit on the idea about, oh, the Raiders won the tag titles and now they're going back to beating jobbers. Here's the thing. I broke down a good maybe 5 or 10 episodes back on why it's, as much as I love tag team wrestling and I was a tag team guy, it's a pain business-wise to have such a big tag team roster, you know? And not only that, you got the Raiders, who are both two big, thick, heavy-hitting sons of bitches, and they're both not afraid to take bumps, but you want to go and make these guys look like fucking dynamite fucking guys. You can't go have them out there and beat every challenger out there right out the gate. You gotta build them up to make them look like fucking monsters, so that way people can go against them. And then make it like, well, damn. That's all. Now with that said, let's get into the next matchup. Andrade going against Sin Cara again. Rematch. Now the twist on this is Sin Cara bringing out his partner to help him, a luchadora going by the name of Catalina, and well, they did wind up breaking. She was a girl. It is a girl that signed with WWE, so it's not just some random local indie girl. No, and I believe she was. Christ, what's that right word? Chelina or something, I believe it was. Chelita, she's a female wrestler from Chile. I know that much, but that's about most I know on her. But either way, as far as this went, it was pretty much, you know, well, not gonna lie, the match was really way short for my personal taste, and other than that, it was other than time length, it was pretty much a carbon copy of last week minus the ending. Just as Zelina Vega was getting ready to go and run interference, that's when Catalina came in. Zelina went to go and do a Hurricane Rana on her. She picked her up and then wham! Slammed her up against the barricade. All while she's doing that, Sin Cara looks, he's like, yeah, good job, good job. And then Andrade, boom, roll up with his feet on the ropes, 1, 2, 3. That was it. So yeah. Now, some folks may not like the idea and are shitting on the idea of Andrade going with Sin Cara right off bat, but they're going to build Andrade up. He works a lucha style, so does Sin Cara. Them two can work together to look good. That help elevate Andrade. Boom. Next matchup, we got women's tag action. Charlotte and Natayla going against the IIconics, and whew, good God Almighty. Good God Almighty, man. IIconics. Oh. Focus, man. Focus. Now, what was interesting in this match more than anything was really Charlotte not really being so much in the match itself. She was in there for a little bit, but Natty, she was in there for most of the grunt work and was the team punching bag. The IIconics wound up working most of the match and leading it. Basically right up until the end when Billie Kay wound up teasing and taunting Charlotte. Charlotte just about stepped in. Ref had to go and step in the way to stop her, just as he did. That's when Natayla got her second win, flipped Billie Kay over, locked in the sharpshooter. Just as she did that, Charlotte came in, hit Peyton with a spear, and then Billie Kay tapped out. And that is what you should do with a submission. Hold out for a little bit. Hold out for a few seconds just to make that finish more believable. I can do it. No, I can't. You know, like a true test of will. Anyways, next matchup we got Seth Rollins against Eric Rowan in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Seth hyping up the fact, before doing the match, hyping up on how he's got his match coming up at Crown Jewel against The Fiend in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Cannot stop under no circumstances stipulation. And, well, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, so as you would expect, it went all around. It went in the it went in the stands, it went up in concession, it went in the merch table. It was funny because as my son was watching it with me, he's just looking, he's like, well, Rowan just broke that gift shop. I hope he's gonna fix it when they're done. When they're done this match, which I don't know why. Just the seriousness in the way he said that to me, like, I hope he fixes that when he's done his match, just tickled me pink on that. God bless the innocence of children in the way they think, you know. Yeah. It was a good way to help show a little bit more of an aggressive side for Seth leading into the Falls Count Anywhere on Thursday. And the way the match came to an end was really cool also. Because Seth, he got a ladder, slammed it on Rowan a little bit, gave him a curb stomp on the ladder, rolled him under a skid, and then instead of just dropping a forklift down on him, he actually looked around and was like, I need somebody who knows how to use it. Who knows how to use this thing? That right there is what I absolutely loved. That was great because he went to look for somebody who knew how to use the damn thing instead of just going and doing it himself. And I'm not taking away from all the cool shit seeing Steve Austin do when I was a kid. But the benefit of hindsight, now that I'm an adult, I know for a fact, and I had to operate a forklift once or twice even though I'm not certified to. You gotta know which levers to move, which levers to pull and all for it. So, yeah. So he dropped a skid down on him and then stood on it. 1, 2, 3. That was it. So, also let this be a lesson to Rowan. You use a forklift to try and take out somebody. Chances are their best friend's going to use a forklift to take you out. So now we come to the last match of the night, which, well, yeah, we could say it's the main event of the night. Not the closing segment, though. I'll get to that. This, AJ Styles versus Humberto Carrilo. This one came to be because backstage segment, Styles getting in the kid's face like, hey, man, you made a big step trying to go out there talking to Seth, you know, but he's not the real champ of this show. You want to go and make a mark, you go against me. So, did that, and Styles, man, Styles made this kid look like $1 million. Not to say that this kid can't work before, couldn't work, you know, but you go and you look at the shit he did on 205, you know, you'll see what I mean. But this kid just fucking looked like he could work. Like, he made this kid shine so much more brighter than he was. And that's an honest to God fact. You know, the Good Brothers didn't run interference during the match, which really like to see. So it was a chance for these two to have a one-on-one. You know, nice pace, nice stop, nice, you know, nice little bit of a styles clash, pardon the pun, given who's in it. And match came to an end when Styles, he locked in the calf killer, and Humberto tapped out, but like I said, it was right when it got locked in, just, ugh. I try not to split hairs on stupid things like that, but little things like that really annoy the hell out of me. You know, now afterwards, then they proceeded to do a beatdown on him, and then just as the club's doing a beatdown on him, then the Street Profits come down, even things up, and yeah. So now we come to the closing segment of the night. Jerry Lawler doing a King's Divorce Court with Rusev and Lana. Rusev basically asking, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this running around with Lashley? Lana basically saying, honestly, because all you want is sex, which, okay, really, that is, oh, I'm sorry, apparently the guy wants to go and be with it, wants to go and bang his smoking hot Russian gymnast wife. You really... Yeah, really? I mean, come on! And then she goes, no, not just at home, but on planes, when we're at the hotels, on the road, in the arenas, at WrestleMania. They're trying to say Rusev's a sex addict. No, there's a difference between a sex addict and somebody who just wants to bang their smoking hot Russian gymnast wife. Yeah. And then she went to go and say, and I had to think about this part for a minute. Then she went to go and say that Lashley told her that Rusev was running around on Lana. Which, at first I was like, no. Unfortunately, there is a very small chance that that could actually happen because, while I said, yes, smoking hot Russian gymnast wife. However, keep in mind, Tiger Woods was stupid enough to go and run around and cheat on his smoking hot Swedish supermodel wife. So, can't necessarily say it's not within the realm of possibility. Just as she did that, then Lashley came down. Rusev started to do a beatdown on him unmercilessly. until Lana wound up grabbing a Singapore cane, started cracking it on him, grabbed it out of her, and then Lashley, boom, low blow, hit him right in the ding-ding, and then just left him down on the ground. And yeah. So, honestly, that had to probably be the best episode of Divorce Court I think I have ever seen. So, with that said, that is it for this week's show, folks. So, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure you look for me on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. Also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you're gonna look for me on my Facebook gimmick at Tim love that. Botch. If you're gonna look for me on my Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash, make sure you let me know you found me on there from here. Or on my Twitter at Tim Vicious. Also, big ups to my executive producer, Ali Rewind Ben, who provided the music for this week's show. Make sure you check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and such. Details are down below. Also, big thanks to contributor to the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships. A little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a whole lot of nothing. Also, LFC is doing a show on October 31st. Make sure y'all check their website out. It is a free show. Free. F-R-E-E. You can't get a better price than that. Definitely want to check that out. Like I said, details are down below. Also, folks, do not forget to follow all these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Mulligan, Kenny Killer, DSB_IV. Diabolica RA, Sergeant Curry Pants, Stazzy MWP, my homeboy ZTSUNDERE_ZEE. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck yous.